This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Mosaic, a daily news program from Link TV, presents a selection of news reports from independent and state-controlled broadcasters from throughout the Middle East.
Hours after the Iraqi Interior Ministry issued an arrest warrant for leader of the Sunni Islamic Party, Harith al-Dari, Iraqi government spokesperson Ali al-Dabbagh, in an interview with Al-Arabiya news channel, denied that an arrest warrant was issued, saying it was an investigation warrant to learn about his activities. He added that the issue of the arrest remained in the hands of the Iraqi judicial system.
The Iraqi government stresses that this news was taken out of context for ulterior motives. There are files under investigation concerning Sheikh al-Dari's activities, but no decision has been made about these files yet. Any future decision in this regard is dependent upon the Iraqi judiciary and is not based on political considerations. Any citizen can be called in for questioning. No one is above the law. Everyone is subject to questioning and investigation. No one, except for members of parliament, has immunity, which cannot be lifted by the courts, only by the parliament.
Earlier there was information that the Iraqi Interior Ministry issued an arrest warrant for Sheikh Harith al-Dari, the leader of the Sunni Islamic Party. Sources in the Interior Ministry told our correspondent that the Iraqi government is coordinating efforts with Arab governments in an attempt to arrest al-Dari abroad on charges of inciting sectarian violence without giving further details. Sheikh al-Dari said in Amman that the Iraqi Interior Ministry's arrest warrant is an illegitimate, unlawful and unpatriotic act against him.
The Iraqi Interior Minister issued an arrest warrant for the head of the Sunni Islamic Party, Sheikh Harith al-Dari, accusing him of supporting terrorism. The decision of the Interior Ministry was preceded by a complaint registered by some Iraqi leaders last month that Sheikh al-Dari justified violence by al-Qaeda in his television interviews.
The issue has turned from a local security situation to one being supported by elements that carried out assassinations.
Sheikh al-Dari belongs to one of the most prominent tribes in Iraq. Born in the district of Abu Ghraib in 1941, al-Dari received his bachelor's degree in religious studies from Al-Azhar University. Al-Dari worked as a professor in the College of the Greater Imam and several Arabic universities. He founded the Muslim Scholars Organization immediately after returning to Iraq when Saddam was ousted. The organization's mission was to administer and care for mosques, but eventually it became a political opposition party that many accused of supporting al-Qaeda in Iraq. Iraqi President Jalal Talabani had accused al-Dari previously of inciting sectarian violence. What is certain is that carrying out al-Dari's warrant of arrest will lead to very strong reactions by his followers. Mazen Aman, Al-Arabiya.
Mazen Aman, Al-Arabiya.
The Jordanian Muslim Brotherhood organized a celebration to commemorate the 100th anniversary of its founder, Hassan al-Banna. Muslim Brotherhood members from a number of Arab and Muslim countries attended the celebration. However, al-Banna's sons and daughters were prevented from attending the celebration by the Egyptian authorities.
After long negotiations and hesitations, the Jordanian authorities finally agreed to allow the Muslim Brotherhood to hold a commemoration for the 100th 100th anniversary of its founder Hassan al-Banna. This celebration, which is the first of its kind in an Arab country, was held in a private hall. The Muslim Brotherhood said that they consider this event an opportunity to re-evaluate their experience and the ideas of its founder.
We celebrate the memory of our Imam. Our celebration is aimed to revive stronger Islamic values, jihad and sacrifice among the followers of Imam Hassan al-Banna.
A large number of guests from Arab and Muslim countries attended the celebration. However, the Egyptian authorities prevented al-Banna's sons and daughters from attending the celebration, which was held to honor them along with other Egyptian Brotherhood members. The Jordanian Muslim Brotherhood parliament members used their influence in the Jordanian government to persuade Egypt to let an Egyptian guest attend the celebration.
We originally wanted the celebration to be held in Egypt, the birthplace of the martyr Imam Hassan al-Banna and the Muslim Brotherhood, but we faced security and administrative obstacles. The Muslim Brotherhood has their special way of celebrating in all Egyptian provinces.
Although the Muslim Brotherhood is one of the most widespread movements in the Arab world, its presence still generates a lot of controversy, even in countries where its legitimacy and right to participate in the political process are officially recognized. The Muslim Brotherhood stresses that its wide popular constituency gives it true legitimacy.
The Muslim Brotherhood enjoys legal and constitutional legitimacy in many countries, although many of the Muslim Brotherhood branches go under different names in different countries. The Muslim Brotherhood has gained its true legitimacy with the rise of Islamic movements in the world.
The Muslim Brotherhood is still fighting to gain political legitimacy 100 years after the birth of its founder Hassan al-Banna was born. In many Arab countries, Muslim Brotherhood members face harassment, detention, and even execution, despite the fact that many political researchers consider the Muslim Brotherhood to be one of the most popular and moderate Islamic movements. Ahmed Jarrar, Al Jazeera, Amman.
إلى كل المقاومين الشرفاء في فلسطين وفي العراق وفي لبنان.
To the honorable resistance in Palestine, Iraq, Lebanon, and every region, to deter the Zionist and American hegemony.
This is the spiritual leader of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, Mahdi Akif, expressing the deep anger that has long lived in the heart of the Muslim nation due to the years of accumulated suffering. The occasion was a demonstration that was held in solidarity with the Lebanese resistance during the Israeli aggression last summer. Also deep in the heart of the Muslim nation is some kind of confusion between religion politics, which tend to be expressed in books and in political statements made in the public squares in prominent capitals. The strategy of the Muslim Brotherhood is twofold. One is religious and is represented in the call for stronger Islamic values, and the second is political, represented in efforts exerted to establish a Muslim nation. While Islamic leaders debate about ways of life and continue to struggle with the authorities of different countries, many opinions, men, symbols, and struggles have emerged. Some Muslim Brotherhood members were enthusiastic and motivated by the feeling that they should not be deprived of any of their rights. They believe that the only right path is the one that leads to the establishment of an Islamic nation. The Muslim Brotherhood founder Hassan al-Banna was born in Egypt and he was considered a historic symbol, but he was assassinated by an authority that can't be categorized as religious or secular. In the eyes of the Islamists, this authority was considered a tyrannical force, but now they are participating in the political and election process in the Arab world. Regardless of the policies that the Muslim Brotherhood have used through history, their relationship with the current Arab regimes has been shaped by prisons, killing and counter-killing, ambiguity, lack of confidence, and the use of political means to counter other movements. The participation of the Muslim Brotherhood and the Islamists in general in the political process seems to be nothing more than a symbolic maneuver that was made possible by the current Arab regimes as a means to secure their continuation in power. The question is why the Muslim Brotherhood and other political Islamic movements can rally their supporters and sympathizers in streets and public squares, while their symbols do not have a legitimate right to speak from an official political platform.
In today's top story, Qassam rocket fire continues on Israel's southern region. 4 Qassam missiles were fired from Gaza toward western Negev communities this morning. One landed near a kibbutz cafeteria, while the others landed in open fields close to the outskirts of an additional kibbutz. No injuries were reported, but severe damage was caused to a kibbutz structure. And meanwhile, the Qassam-weary residents of Sderot were provided a brief vacation in a lot yesterday, courtesy of billionaire Kadi Gaidamak. The journey out of the southern Negev town was far from smooth, however, as those wishing to leave town exceeded the number of available spaces. Scuffles broke out at Sderot's town hall as residents who had failed to register attempted to force their way onto the buses. The hundreds of family members who did manage to make it to Eilat were put up in local hotels, where they will spend the next few days away from the ongoing rocket attacks on their city. Gaidamak's initiative is not without controversy, though. Defense Minister Amir Peretz said, quote, "The state of Israel won't allow wealthy men to gain control," adding that the government is preparing an organized plan in order to ease the hardship faced by Sderot residents. Gaidamak responded by saying that, as a Jew, he felt it was his obligation to help out. The billionaire added that if the defense ministry can do a better job, he would be happy for them. Gaidamak also faced criticism from municipal officials who claimed that his initiative was a short-term solution that not only wasn't coordinated with the city, but failed to serve the city's best interests.
Welcome to boot camp, Gaza style. All the usual torments are here. Raw recruits badgered by a sadistic drill sergeant. These men are being asked to be all that they can be by the Hamas-controlled Palestinian Interior Ministry, the latest members of the so-called executive force, set up to act as a counterbalance to security forces loyal to Hamas's rival, Fatah. In a makeshift lecture hall, an instructor, who insisted we not take his picture because he's wanted by Israel, explains the mechanics of the AK-47 assault rifle. The recruits dutifully repeat the names of every bit and piece. Some join for ideological reasons, others attracted by a job that, if there's money in government coffers, promises to pay around $280 a month. I get 20 or 30 calls a day from people asking to join, spokesman Nidal Kalab tells me. Some say their motives are altruistic.
First of all, when I hear the new police, I like it. So I want to join them, not for the money or for the other stuff. I joined them only to protect my people. That's it.
The camp sits in what until last year was the industrial zone of the Jewish settlement of Neve Dekalim. Now workers are refurbishing buildings vacated when Israel left Gaza. Buildings constructed by Israel will soon house training facilities run effectively by Hamas. And as if that isn't ironic enough, the cement comes from Israel. Many, but not all of the force's men come from Hamas's military wing, the Izzeddin al-Qassam brigades, who masterminded nearly 60 suicide attacks against Israel. But the force's officers and troops insist their goal is not to attack Israel, but to re-establish law and order in Gaza's increasingly chaotic streets. For 13 years, things have gone from bad to worse, with more murders and crime, says 39-year-old recruit Ayman. We needed another force to put an end to all of this. Some Palestinians say the executive force troops are just guns for hire. In recent months, they've been involved in bloody street battles with Fatah. But this is a force that looks like it's here to stay, a new army in Gaza, marching under its own flag.
Today, an Israeli minister called for expanding the limited targeted killings to include officials of Palestinian movements that launch missiles on Israeli lands. Meanwhile, Israel is attempting to use the policy of changing and imposing the reality on the ground for the Palestinians, using the language of weapons and terror in Gaza and the West Bank.
It seems like a race with time. This describes the situation of the occupation forces, which intensified their air and land invasions, taking advantage of an opportunity presented by the death of an Israeli settler from missiles launched by Palestinian resistance fighters. Gaza witnessed this opportunity firsthand last night after occupation planes carried out a series of retaliatory attacks, targeting 5 homes of resistance fighters from Palestinian factions. 5 people were injured, including 1 person who was seriously wounded in Rafah.
بينهم حالات خطيرة في رفح.
الاحتلال الصهيوني لا يحتاج إلى ذرائع.
The Zionist occupation does not need any justifications to carry out its fascist attacks. Some independent human rights organizations say that Israel, during a 1-year period, launched nearly 15,000 large-caliber mortar shells and hundreds of thousands of smart bombs, in addition to large bombs that were dropped on homes. Add to that planes and Apache helicopters, which always attack Palestinian gatherings. This is a savage enemy, an enemy that has no humanity and no morals.
A phone call could make a difference for a Palestinian citizen's home, which has provided shelter for him and his family for many years. Despite the policy of bombing homes, their will is strong, and their steadfastness towards resistance and jihad remains firm.
They called me and asked if I was Mahmoud al-Sharafi. I said, "Who are you?" He said, "Are you Mahmoud al-Sharafi?" He spoke in a Hebrew-Arabic accent. I said, "Yes, I am Mahmoud al-Sharafi. Who's calling?" He said, "The Israeli army. You have 10 minutes to get out of your home."
The stones have never been more valuable than the blood of human beings. So, people offer their martyrs. Their children become martyrs. I have 2 brothers who died as martyrs.
It is clear from Israeli statements that Israel has begun a wide-scale operation aimed at changing the facts on the ground and impeding the formation of a national unity government. These statements also show that Israel wants to thwart efforts aimed at ending the siege on the Palestinians and derail any political process. Israel does not need any justifications to bomb homes. However, it is uncomfortable with what is taking place in the Palestinian territories.
Israel talks about justifications to change the facts on the ground and to continue the chain of violence, retaliatory attacks, and the cycle of aggression. Also, the launching of missiles was a pretext for Israel to increase and escalate this aggression more dangerously.
A series of attacks inflamed the night sky in Gaza after the Israeli Minister of Defense, Amir Peretz, threatened to carry out a wide-scale operation against the Palestinians. The Palestinians say, "If you kill us, we will bring more children. If you uproot our trees, we will plant more. If you destroy and demolish, we will rebuild."
The Israeli B'Tselem human rights organization said that there are strong suspicions that Israeli soldiers executed 2 injured Palestinians following their arrest during a military operation in the West Bank village of Yamoun when 5 citizens were martyred.
In Beit Hanun, the killers did not have to look in the faces of their victims, and the mortar shells were launched from places that were several kilometers away. However, in Yammoun, 2 injured Palestinian young men were executed in cold blood while the killers were staring in their eyes. In the early hours of last Wednesday morning, Israeli special forces killed 5 Palestinian citizens in Yammoun near Jenin. The Israeli B'Tselem Human Rights Organization conducted an investigation in the killing of 2 out of the 5 injured Palestinians in Yammoun, Salim Abu al-Hija, Mahmoud Abu Hassan, and it turned out that the circumstances of their death were very different from what was mentioned in the report of the Israeli army. Eyewitnesses from the Kabbalah family in Yammoun said that at 1:30 p.m., 2 injured young men knocked at their door. The father and the son of the Kabbalah family administered first aid to the injured men who were wanted by the Israeli security agencies. The mother covered the injured men with blankets. About 10 or 20 minutes later, the Israeli soldiers knocked at the door of the Kabbalah family's home. The soldiers demanded that the family open the door of their home and leave their rooms.
About 15 minutes later, the Israeli soldiers came. They must have known that the injured men were inside. They started knocking on the door and yelling, "Open the door!"
3 soldiers entered inside the home. 2 minutes later, family members said that they'd heard 1 or 2 bullets. It turned out that Abu al-Hijja was shot and killed. Soon after that, 2 family members witnessed 1 Israeli soldier shooting the other injured man, Abu Hassan.
1 soldier came from there and shot the second injured man.
Were you here?
Yes, we were here.
The Israeli B'Tselem Human Rights Organization said that the investigation raises strong suspicions that the Israeli soldiers executed the 2 injured Palestinians, Salim Abu al-Hijja and Mahmoud Abu Hassan, while they were on the ground. What happened in Yammoun was not the first crime of its kind. In May 2005, B'Tselem Human Rights Organization published an investigative report about the arrest of 4 Palestinians who were also wanted by the Israeli security intelligence. The report revealed that the soldiers were carrying out assassination missions, not arresting the suspects.
The Israeli occupation continues to implement its apartheid policy in the Palestinian territories. It continues to confiscate and annex Palestinian land to expand its settlements in an attempt to isolate and Judify the holy city of Jerusalem.
The Israeli Occupation Authority has confiscated more than 1,300 dunams in the town of Anata in occupied Jerusalem in order to make them part of the Ma'ale Adumim and Yammoun settlements. The Israeli separation wall will pass through this confiscated Palestinian land, which was once used as agricultural fields by local residents.
The confiscation of Palestinian land is part of an ongoing Israeli strategy to expand Jewish settlements in the West Bank. Israel wants to annex the land that was confiscated in Anata and make it part of the Ma'ali Adumim settlement. It wants to expand West Bank settlements prior to any negotiations with the Palestinian National Authority.
According to a Zionist military order, Israel will continue to expand the separation wall. The expansion will start from the intersection of Mushir Adumim near the settlement of Ma'ale Adumim, stretch northwest, and end at the Aton military post near Jerusalem. The confiscated lots in Anata have been recorded at the Palestinian Land Administration. The town of Anata, which connects the West Bank with occupied Jerusalem, is considered to be the east gateway to the holy city.
Many Anata residents may lose their Jerusalem identification cards because they will be living in areas outside the separation wall. The residents will soon start to feel the agony and the inconvenience caused caused by this separation wall that will isolate the town and break up families.
تأثر بشكل كتير كبير على النسيج الاجتماعي.
القرار الاحتلالي العسكري هو أخطر مخطط.
According to observers, this Israeli military order is one of the most dangerous campaigns against the town of Anata and the holy city of Jerusalem since 1967. It seems that the Israeli government of Ehud Olmert started to implement its aggressive campaign in Jerusalem by isolating Palestinian towns and villages around the holy city. According to some Israeli sources, Israel wants to maintain control over the holy city of Jerusalem, which was the first Muslim Qibla and the second holy shrine. Khadr Shaheen, Al-Alam Television, Occupy Jerusalem.
خضر شاهين العالم القدس المحتلة.
Al Jazeera English launches but can't find an audience in the US. Will it live up to its reputation or become just another CNN? This and more on this week's Mosaic Intelligence Report.
Despite the Washington Bureau and the signing up of star names such as Sir David Frost, breaking into the American market has proven difficult for the new Al Jazeera English channel. A recent poll found 53% of Americans opposed to the launch of the channel, and 2/3 of Americans saw that the US government should not allow its entry into the US market. Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld has accused Al Jazeera of spreading vicious lies, and US officials have been upset by footage of American military deaths and Al Jazeera's unstinting coverage of the war's effect on civilians.
If anyone here lived in the Middle East and watched Al Jazeera day after day, he would think that America is a bad country, even if he was American.
But does this justify banning Al Jazeera from American airwaves? I think not. I have been watching Al Jazeera in Arabic since its inception in 1996. It has revolutionized satellite TV in the Middle East. Unlike most state-controlled media throughout the Arab world, Al Jazeera regularly broadcasts dissent and opposing points of view, providing the broadest spectrum of argument that many Arab viewers have seen. I also have been watching Al Jazeera English from its inception 48 hours ago on the internet, where you can get a taste of it for free, 15 minutes at a time. I was in Washington for its launch and had discussions with some of its excited staff members who were nervously awaiting this big occasion.
We Arab Americans feel that the Al Jazeera English channel is a wonderful thing because it will cover our opinions and concerns and provide an alternative point of view other than that of the US.
From a last-minute name change to Al Jazeera English instead of International, and problems with their high-definition cameras, Al Jazeera English went on the air as scheduled. Now, if you're looking to see what made Al Jazeera globally famous, you will be sorely disappointed. Al Jazeera English is worlds apart from its decade-old sibling, the Al Jazeera I am accustomed to watching. And yes, from time to time, you will see some Arab faces on the new channel.
Biggest mistake in foreign affairs.
But as I have been spending a lot of time watching for the past 2 days, I was reminded of the BBC and to a lesser degree CNN International. While the well-produced reports about surfing in Rio and dispatches from Zimbabwe did not impress me, it is too early to reach a conclusion and pass judgment by watching a new channel for only a couple of days, and I'm sure that the Al Jazeera English will keep getting better. In the meantime, I'll keep watching. The old Al Jazeera I grew fond of, the one that gave me a look at the world through Arab eyes. I'm Jamal Dejani for Mosaic Intelligence Report. To learn more or share your thoughts, visit us at linktv.org/mirblog.
The views expressed on Mosaic are those of the participating broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. Please visit linktv.org/mosaic For more information about these broadcasters, or to view previous Mosaic programs, obtain program transcripts, or receive the weekly Mosaic Intelligence Report, Mosaic is made possible by a grant from the William and Flora Hewlett Foundation. Additional support is provided by the Feyerdahl Foundation, the Otto Haas Charitable Trust, and by committed Link TV viewers like you. If you value this program, please send your tax-deductible contribution to Link TV, either through the website or the mailing address listed on your screen. This program was brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only U.S. television network devoted to global and national news, with uncompromising documentaries and diverse cultural programs which connect you to the world.